After the great celebration of the Easter Vigil, the Christian community continues to celebrate on Easter Sunday, that first Easter Sunday when Jesus' disciples, led first of all by Mary Magdalene and the other holy women, went and witnessed the empty tomb, the testimony to the resurrection of Jesus. When we were visiting the station in the church that we remembered the crucifixion, I pointed out that this was an old piece of art that was here from the time when the first Franciscan missionaries arrived in Santa Barbara. Here we have a contemporary piece of art that's been only around for about 20 years. Very different kind of art form, but one that helps us to maybe, again, enter more fully into the mystery of what we celebrate, this time on Easter Sunday. As I mentioned just a moment ago, the disciples of Jesus, the male disciples of Jesus, were all afraid that they too might suffer the same fate that he had suffered, that they might be crucified. And their fear was not without basis, because according to Roman law, anyone who was an accomplice or along with a person who would be sentenced to death would necessarily also be subject to the same sentence. In Roman law, however, women and male who were under the age of 16 were not held to that same level of accountability. So the disciples were being prudent in hiding out from the Roman authorities, because there would have been a reasonable chance that they too would have been taken for crucifixion. We're reminded of that when Peter denies 3 times that he's associated with Jesus. This wasn't just Peter's failing, it was a prudent action on his part to make sure that he too didn't suffer crucifixion. But because women and children were not subject to the same penalty, it was a woman, Jesus' mother Mary, and a young man below the age of 16, John, the beloved disciple, who was present at the foot of the cross when Jesus was crucified. The other disciples were hiding out. And so it was on that first Easter Sunday morning. It was the women who made their way to the tomb to complete the task of burial, the task that could not have been performed once the Sabbath started. And recall that Jesus died on the cross at the beginning of the Sabbath. So they were going to complete the funeral arrangements, the funeral activities for Jesus. When they arrived, of course, they found an empty tomb. They didn't know exactly what to do with that at first. They certainly had heard Jesus speak about it was necessary for him to die and to be raised from the dead. We, 20 centuries later, have the great advantage of being able to know exactly what that means. But imagine, if you can, for a moment, what those who had never experienced such a thing might have understood. It was not until they actually saw the empty tomb that perhaps they began putting together what it was that Jesus meant when he said he had to die and be raised from the dead. And now Mary Magdalene, the other women, would come to complete the funeral activities for Jesus, discover the empty tomb. They at first assume that someone has stolen the body, and they ask, where have you taken his body so that we may complete the work we have come to do? And of course, the person they asked, who they mistook for a gardener, was in fact an angel who said to them, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He is risen." This great joy, this great hope began then to fill the hearts of the women, just as this great joy and this great hope is meant to fill our hearts every year at our celebration of Easter. But Mary Magdalene, who in the last 50 years or so has taken what I believe to be her rightful place in the history of the early church, her rightful place as a disciple of Jesus, she does not satisfy with just discovering that hope and joy for herself, but she is compelled by the experience to go and witness to others, and specifically to go and witness to those men who were hiding out, afraid for their lives, to go and to testify to them that Jesus was no longer dead, that he was raised from the dead. And so in the last 50 years, it has become possible for us to, after reflection, think of Mary Magdalene as the apostle to the apostles, the one who bears the message of the risen Lord to those who had not had the courage to come themselves and be the first to discover it. Of course, as soon as the disciples, the apostles, heard that news, they came running themselves, so filled were they with the joy. But as we look at this piece of contemporary art here in the Old Mission Church, it reminds us not only of this special role that Mary Magdalene took in proclaiming the resurrection of Jesus and witnessing to it, but also our own call as we remember and experience anew the risen Lord on Easter Sunday, our call to be witnesses to that great joy and that great hope for others. I want to wish you a very happy Holy Week and certainly a blessed and joyful Easter. At the end of this video, there will be a listing of all the times for the Holy Week celebrations on Holy Thursday, on Good Friday, at the Easter Vigil, on Easter Sunday. Some of those celebrations will be inside the church. Others will be outside. The outside celebrations, we can accommodate as many people as wish to come. And so I hope that many of you will be able to attend at least the outdoor celebrations. Those celebrations that are inside the church, and again, those will be noted on the schedule that follows. The attendance is limited. Again, on behalf of the St. Barbara Parish staff, clergy, on behalf of all the Franciscans who work here at the Old Mission, who live here at the Old Mission, may you have a Holy Week and a joyful Easter. May the Lord give you peace always.